Well, hello, NFT.NYC community. Welcome to Times Square. In less than 1 week, we're going to have tens of thousands of people that are going to be here right in the midst of Times Square. And I thought I'd come out and show off what's happening. But as I've just gotten things started, I want to introduce my guest. So it's amazing what Dapper Labs have become. Top Shot, CryptoKitties, so many things. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about the backstory of how did Dapper become this amazing and powerful creator of IP and facilitator of other major brands like the NBA coming into the NFT space. So looking forward to this. Love for you to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for having me. Thanks for repping with the t-shirt. Love it. I'm Mick. I'm one of the co-founders and chief business officer at Dapper Labs. We founded the company in 2018, but it was really, we were essentially a spin out of a other company we had created called Axiom Zen, which was a company, a startup founder, a company that creates companies. In 2017, we started redigging into blockchain with kind of the whole like ICO boom that was happening on Ethereum, and we were starting to see it as a platform you could start to develop interesting things on it, and that was the genesis of what we started to see thanks to Ethereum was, hey, this decentralized protocol, it can bring us decentralized money, but it can also bring us a decentralized internet, and that's what made us very, very curious. The beginning of our journey started with CryptoKitties, but it started really with two questions that we were trying to answer. The first one was, how do we get regular people to adopt a new technology? And the premise we had is that getting people to start with banking and money is going to be kind of like a really, really hard first step for most regular people. And so we wanted to kind of find another way. Another big thing that we kind of saw was if we could have a decentralized internet and we could have a decentralized future, it couldn't just be about money. In the real world, money exists to acquire things, and things are kind of like the whole color and beauty of life. and so we really wanted to see how we could create a way to represent things on the blockchain. Now, at the time, punks already existed, but there was no real standard for NFTs. There was no concept of NFTs. And so it was the combination of like, hey, how do we get people to adopt this technology? And we thought, well, with cute cats, games, a simple game, CryptoKitties is just collectible cats that can breed together and create new cats, but a game nevertheless. And then two was, okay, well, let's see if we add things to the blockchain, can we, as a primitive, can we get people to value owning unique things, and would they have different user behavior? And so that was kind of the beginning of our journey. We launched CryptoKitties in late 2017. It had a big moment in late 2017 and early 2018, and which was great. We made a bunch of money. We melted Ethereum for a little bit, put ourselves on the map. But that's kind of what created the genesis of our company. And it was two specific things that we uncovered. Well, actually, three specific things that we uncovered that gave us the conviction to create Dapper Labs. One was that people were onboarding with CryptoKitties. I think about a third of our user base had never owned a cryptocurrency before. And so that was like, and at the time it was really kind of hard, right? You had to go to MetaMask, like figure out what a MetaMask is, and like go create a cryptocurrency account through an exchange somewhere, go through KYC, like crazy. And the other thing we saw is that their spending habits of that population was different. They're spending about 10 times more than they would usually spend. And when we interviewed them, it was because they're saying, well, I actually own this. So like when I'm done with it, I can sell it and get a portion or all or make some money back. And so this idea of like, I own this, and therefore it's like wealth transfer rather than spend. So they were really understanding I own this. And then the third thing that blew our, like, those were the two things we were testing for. The thing that blew our minds was within a few months of CryptoKitties launching, about about 24 apps were created on top of CryptoKitties. Someone created hats for your cats, CryptoKitty races, et cetera. And so like this idea of like composability on blockchain, and how if there's a community for an asset, other developers will build on top and add to that community, and like in the kind of network effects around that really blew our minds. And it was like kind of the combination of the three that got us to create Dapper Labs, which was the mission of catalyzing kind of a future of decentralized apps and bringing billions of people to blockchain.
You know, CryptoKitties was my introduction to NFTs. I had heard whispers of, you know, this idea of smart contracts, what they could become, how they could like, I was thinking the smart contracts like automating SaaS companies. If this, then that, you know, triggers. And then when I saw CryptoKitties in 17, I was running a Future of Tech event at Twitter, and somebody was showing me what was going on is December 2017. I'm like, you could breed cats? Like, this is next level stuff. And then I remember in 18, I met people that were like full-time CryptoKitty cat breeders. Like that's what they did. And I thought, what an amazing development that's coming. When you look at all of the wonderful things that have happened, what were some unexpected times where wind came in your sails, maybe from outside market or the way that people responded to Top Shot? What were some moments that you're like, wow, we never could have anticipated this type of a good response? Because of course you've faced a lot of hurdles. There's lots of things that have been tough over the years, but I'd love to hear some of the things that really stand out to you in terms of really bright moments.
Yeah, the first one was really CryptoKitties, and when kind of we launched it, it was in November. I was running around Consensus trying to get people to trying to meet people in the crypto industry for the first time, and within we were selling a few cats, and then all of a sudden people started to buy our founders' cats, and all of a sudden people we started having a few $10,000 sales. I was like, whoa, this is huge. People are getting it. People were kind of coming to find me at parties and saying, hey, thank you. Now my wife understands what we do. And that, to me, that was a really special moment where like people in our industry could now had something relatable to their friends, their partners, to kind of demonstrate to them, like, this is why we're doing the thing that we're doing. Another big moment was NBA Top Shot. And really, I think the big catalyst for NBA Top Shot was when players themselves started tweeting about NBA Top Shot and saying, hey, asking our players, how do I engage with this product? How do I play? Or tagging Roham, our founder, and saying, Top Shot this moment. And so that was another kind of big catalyst in terms of we had found a product that really kind of hit a mainstream audience in a way that I don't think the industry had done before. And it was becoming kind of, essentially it was going viral, and it was becoming mainstream. And I think that I think that moment had a big part in kind of bringing NFTs to a much wider audience than the whole industry had before. Those were like the two, I think, biggest moment in terms of having a big change in the narrative of just the history of NFTs.
Well, it doesn't matter who's covering the topic, whether it's the main media houses or people in this industry or just the broader blockchain community. If anybody talks about what's the top 3 moments that catalyzed NFTs in the last 18 months, Top Shot is always mentioned, as it should be. Sometimes people only look at the success, right? The new $700 million fund that you launched, and the success with the fundraising, the success with the engagement with the community, but sometimes people don't understand some of the hurdles that are faced. It's not like NBA came to you and begged you to take them to the blockchain. That's not how things work. Can you talk a bit about the hurdles that you faced in the journey? And then I'd love to bounce in to talk about the future after that. But I would just hear some of the things that were like, man, it was like unexpected or tough to kind of work through this, or people don't even know like this was a thing that almost shut everything down? I mean, anything like that I think would be good for other entrepreneurs here in the space, so they understand it's not like things just go well all the time. There's plenty of things that are challenging.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like between NBA Top Shot, between CryptoKitties and NBA Top Shot, we had like two pretty big product failures. One of them was we attempted to create a much safer and secure decentralized wallet on Ethereum because we were seeing with MetaMask, it was just too hard to onboard users. We were having like only 2% of like regular people were kind of being able to buy. And so our first attempt was to build a better wallet on Ethereum. And we built the first smart contract wallet, and it made things so much more expensive. It made things safer, but it didn't make it easier for users to engage. So like that percentage rate didn't go up at all. And although the product was safer and easier to kind of recover a password, it made it 3 times more expensive in gas fees. And we were just like, it was getting very little traction, and we were just bleeding money on that product. Another one, also personal failure of mine, because I was leading the charge on the game, was Cheese Wizards. Some people may remember Cheese Wizards, but it was essentially kind of the largest battle of rock, paper, scissors, I think in history. It was these wizards made of cheese fighting each other through like a rock, paper, scissors dynamic to take each other's power, and then one would win a rather large prize pool. I think it was like ended up being 200K at the time in ETH, so probably millions of dollars now. But yeah, it was we were like 9 months over budget, 9 months kind of late. Like it became a lore that like summer, when Dapper Labs said summer, we actually meant fall or winter. That's how kind of like how late we were on it. It didn't have kind of the large appeal that we wanted to have. It didn't make any kind of the revenue we expected, but both of those were also really great learning experiences, and they really essentially shaped the way we developed the Flow blockchain, both in terms of kind of the account model to make it easier for people to create safer accounts, and have the developers or wallets pay transaction fees on behalf of users. In the case of Cheese Wizards, the learnings there like really kind of led to the cadence, the programming language that Flow has to make it considerably safer, like to build smart contracts, lesser the amount, like having less amount surface area for different types of attacks or mistakes. And so what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, essentially.
Well, I mean, if you think about, I had one that really Dapper wallets, and the transaction passes and having the recovery phrase, like to me, it made sense. But as you said, the market didn't respond. I was excited about Cheese Wizards, but it felt like, it was the thing I was waiting for. But as you mentioned, what doesn't really make you stronger. But in addition to that, the Flow blockchain, the way that you're approaching things, all the things you learned from the Dapper wallet, Top Shot, how you made decisions, you learn things from Cheese Wizards. It's like not everything we touch turns to gold just because we're amazing and we did CryptoKitties. And so I think it's a really important part of the story. I'd love to hear your ambition for what comes next. Like when you look out a season or a decade, what's the ambition for you and the other executive team members? What's the ambition for the community? What is the community kind of echoing, saying this is where we're going, so we want to do? I'd just love to hear where you think things take a turn in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just kind of to go back to the last point, I do think that a lot of startups is mainly failing forward. So what's next? I mean, we're first and foremost a platform company. Whether it's through Dapper Wallet, the new version, which is a custodial wallet, and through the Flow blockchain, which we're the creators of. And so really, the future for us is focused on one hand, building apps that demonstrate what is possible, And we did that with Top Shot, and we'll try to continue to come up with really cool, innovative ways of showing what is possible in Web3. But I think most importantly, it's really getting behind and helping the next generation of innovators come up with other impactful apps that will create the next waves of innovation. And so really for us, it is focusing though on developers, entrepreneurs, creators that are really looking to build products that are going to affect regular people's lives, and trying to kind of help them uncover that, and being that platform that supports them, whether it's through our tools or through advice or venture arm.
Do you believe that this technology will scale to the 3 billion people in the world that don't have the internet yet? Do you think that people will, in a decade, right, will be using this new technology and maybe even playing these games and engaging when they first, these people that don't have the internet, they don't make any money. Pretty soon they'll have the internet, right? Starlink's going to connect them. Somebody's going to send them a ring or a watch or a pair of glasses. They're going to get connected. And then there's going to be centralized and decentralized options. And is that something that you think about over the course of, the next decade plus, all the people that are going to not just come into NFTs, but come into the web and get connected for the very first time, all these humans? And how does that play into the ambition of being a platform company that allows people to leverage this technology and companies to build upon it?
Yeah, I think there's a few things there. The first one is I absolutely believe that a future where Web3 is the primary way people engage with the internet is inevitable, and I think it'll happen in the next decade. And I believe it's inevitable because Web2, kind of, if you think of yourself as a citizen in the internet, Web2, you're essentially a citizen of a dictatorship where you have no economic rights. And what Web3 creates is a democracy where you have economic rights, you have legal rights, and autonomy, and most importantly, we have open economies, which at the end of the day, what we've seen over kind of like in the real world, we've seen that once you have open economies, they flourish faster. And so the combination of that, and then the combination of the kind of open source smart contract nature of things, which allows developers to build permissionlessly on top of each other, means that innovation of individual products in Web3 will always, will over time outspeed the innovation of a Web2 product, because they don't need to depend on only the team members they're able to recruit within their company.
Well, yeah, I'm glad I asked that question, because I think that's an important view that you have, that people, they need to understand the bigger picture of some of these, because some people get caught up in just a little project or the thing that they're collecting or the community they're part of, but it's so much broader than that. It's about a new approach to humanity, leveraging new automation technology that never existed before, that will allow us to do things, coordinate things, enjoy things we never have. Final thing I want to ask you as we wrap up is, what's your thought on the metaverse as it is? What's your thought on the metaverse that will become? And how does it play into the fact that you're working with every different type of corporation and brand in the world? And some are going to say that Meta's Horizon is the metaverse. I was going to say, no, only Decentraland and Sandbox the metaverse. And so there's like a different views around what is a metaverse. Does that be open, decentralized for it to truly be? And where are things going? Because I anticipate that Dapper is going to support, fund, and even create, as a platform company, many, many, many different products and games and things that are fun to include in the metaverse. So that's the final thing I want to ask you about before we wrap up today.
Yeah, I think different people have different definitions of metaverse. Some people see like a digital land where people can play in as the metaverse. The way I interpret the metaverse is a open set of standards that allows people to engage in multiple applications and carry their identity and their things into these different applications. And so if you kind of think of it that way, blockchains and bridges and standards like ERC 721 are the fundamental building blocks of the metaverse. So one, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, Sandbox is the metaverse, or whatever Epic will build, or Fortnite is the metaverse. I don't think a kind of what Meta's trying to do with the closed metaverse will ever win, for the same reason kind of that I mentioned before, is that if you've got an open one, you get to tap into millions of developers, and Facebook can only tap into tens of thousands. And so one of them is going to, the one with more people and more creativity and more ingenuity is going to win. And then in terms of where we are today, I think we're just in the like very, very early days of initial exploration of what it could be, what's fun, what's not fun. And it's really exciting.
It is. I'm glad I asked you. You have great answers. Very articulate. Thank you. Thank you for maybe it's watching this. Thank you for your attention. Nick and I, we didn't talk about what we're going to talk about. We just want to jump on and have a conversation, right? To tell the NFT.NYC community, hey, here's a bit of the story of how Dapper got here. Here's some of the things that Dapper's team is thinking through. So, Mick, thank you for jumping in. I'm really excited to spend time with you and your team and all the amazing people that are part of the Flow and Dapper communities here in Times Square. We're taking over all the billboards. It's going to be a wild time. I look forward to it. And I'll see you very soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian.